Agency. There we go. Bruno Ouellet is the Director of Enterprise Architecture for the Canadian Border Services Agency. And he's going to be talking about the architecture program being a digitalization enabler. And I personally know what they're up to, or used to know what they were completely up to. And it's all architecture driven, and it's driven by the business, which is really interesting. So I'm looking very much forward to an update on the program. Bruno has completed a 26-year career in the Canadian Armed Forces as Army Signals Officer. And during that period, he served in multiple land and static signal positions, was employed in some cybersecurity positions, and has also spent over 10 years as project director and project manager in the delivery of major projects related to land communications. As a major, he was also appointed commandant of the Canadian Forces Crypto Support Unit, and as lieutenant colonel, he was appointed commandant of the Canadian Joint Operational Headquarters. In December 2013, he retired from the Canadian Forces. He failed retirement and joined CBSA as the Director of Enterprise Architecture, and he's been in that position for 10 years now. Bruno completed a bachelor's degree in computer science with Dean's Mentioned honors, and a master's degree also in computer science with a specialization in wireless networking from the Université de Québec in Ouellet. So without further ado, I'm looking very much forward to, and I really appreciate your willing to speak to this audience. Over to you, Bruno.
Thanks, Bob. So very delighted to be here today and share a little bit of what we're doing within Government of Canada, specifically within CBSA there, on our architecture program there. What I will cover today is talk a little bit about the role of EA there from my perspective, and industry best practices as well. I'll talk about our program, what we do, the neat stuff that we do right now, and a little bit of normally I gave a demo here, but because we are on Zoom and I cannot use my workstations to connect to Zoom because I get cut because of cybersecurity issues. So I took some snapshots there of what we have in our enterprise architecture repository there, and I'll explain a little bit what we are doing with it, and I'll conclude with next steps and key takeaways there. So within CBSA, and likely for most organizations, the context right now is there's definitely a huge expectations of getting modern services from the Canadians at large. On the CBSA side, we have a huge, very, very complex business model there, because we're not just controlling or doing the border management, but as part of the border management, also we advocate for Health Canada, we advocate for Transport Canada, we advocate for immigration and Refugees Canada as well. So we wear quite a lot of hats there at the border, and by the same token, this complicates a little bit our operating model there at the border. Like I just mentioned, the CBSA core mandate at the border is really about risk management, right? Is who should we get? Is there anybody that is a threat to Canada, or is there any shipment that could be a threat to Canada there? And I think on the side also we're capturing taxes and all that there. But over time, like any large organizations, because of its complexity, we have to architect it. We have to architect the evolution of the border, because it's way too complex there to just we cannot just add on and on and on. It's not feasible anymore. So I guess the first, if you go back many years ago there, without the enterprise architecture practice, if you were trying to bring a new capability at the border, you just do it on your own in siloed. With very little engagement, very little I will say, a coordination among your peers as well there, because the overall, and being a former PM, the overall intention was just to deliver at all costs and deliver within the time and costs allocated to you there. Obviously, that solution is not integrated much there, right? It's definitely lacking that approach. It will meet the user requirements, but very little ability to build further on it, and the maintenance costs will just skyrocket over time there. So the end result is a capability that's likely you're going to need to throw additional funding, additional money at it there as soon as you want to improve it over time, right? And to meet, for example, the ongoing security threats and all that. So the model with enterprise architecture is at the end, it's a bit more by design approach on everything there. So we look at the capability horizontally. We try to go at the root from a business perspective. They're trying to understand really the business requirements from a process perspective, from an information exchange, from which end up eventually to data as well there in the systems and all that, and trying to understand what needs to be done, trying to understand the design, the critical design that needs to be tackled there, for example, security, privacy, and all that. And at the end, if you do it by design and all that, you lower the risk of the initiative at the end, which the resulting is you have a fully integrated capability within the ecosystems, and which with limited duplication, with standardization at premium, obviously, and the best efficient cost also to develop that solution and to maintain it there along the way there. So what the enterprise architecture wants to address here, I guess there's plenty of things there, but in my head, the four tops one there is definitely the stovepipe design. We have to stop that. We cannot afford anymore to have applications that are purely designed in isolation there, and that suddenly you have to tie things on them there as life goes on there. So we have to stop that duplication. We have to stop the duplication at all levels, on the business processes side, on the information objects, and in the application function, in the data also that those applications are handling, in the technology services also, and in security features and all that. And this is crazy. CBSA, I'll give you a quick example. CBSA has 181 national systems right now, and all of them, or if not most of them, if not all of them, have a registration, an independent registration and enrollment functions there. Can we just have one there and better manage the client experience from there? This is an example, for example. Another thing also, the technology debt. We cannot afford anymore to design poorly there, because now it's just had wait, to the poor swimmer that is trying to keep his head above water there. So it's not feasible anymore to continue to design with the status quo in mind there, and like I said a bit earlier, design in isolation, design in a stovepipe manner, and that depth also, all the funding, all the resource that we spend at maintaining that the aging system obviously hinder us to do better things, like to integrate innovations and so on there. And last but not least is the poor user experience that ends up at the end there. Like I said, you know, if you have we have 181 system, all of them have registration and enrollment functions. But guess what? The poor user that wants to have more than one service offered by CBSA, they have to register themselves in 4, 5, 6 different systems there, and it's getting crazy also to be managed. Where we want to go? We want to definitely want to promote greater efficiencies. So an optimization on the business process, better user experience, tell us once. We want to have an optimal integration, and this is the really the complex things there. You know, how do we ensure that when you arrive with a bright idea, how do we make sure that this is adequately or properly integrated within the existing ecosystem? So and it leverage also the services that are there, and it avoids duplicating functions and so on there. I want to have an optimal digitalization also there, and we want at the end, we want to support the business here. We want to support the business ambitions to digital world, and this is quite key. And the last item is innovations. Yes, well, I want to be able to support any future innovation that could come around at the from the business, or being you know, the new trends being worked on by industry that could be applicable to the agency. So so what is the CBSA Architecture Program? What we do? So first of all, we deal with the business, which is really our anchor domain, the architecture domain, information, data privacy, application, technology, and security domains. So those are the key domains that we are trying to mesh together and to make sure that all the key aspects of a solution, of a new product or a new capability is actually well thought of there when they are implemented. But in a nutshell, the program is there to assist implementing changes in a complex environment. And when I talk about change, I talk about modernization, transformation, things like that. Because at the end, this is exactly what all those new capabilities, those new projects are there for, right? It's because we want to have a new way of doing things, want to have a new capabilities and so on. We want to augment also, our target is to augment the accountability and the understanding of what's in that ecosystem also there. And believe me, in large organizations, it's not intuitive there. You know, people, they don't necessarily understand what's underneath them there from a responsibility or accountability perspective. We are definitely promoting the use of a service approach at enterprise level, mainly at enterprise level, but definitely and also at solution level, and want to promote innovation and digitalization there. So we have 6 functions that we do, and what I propose now, we'll go through each of them one at a time. So the first one is what we do from a program perspective. Listen, we have to understand what's going on around us, around CBSA. We have to attend a different symposium, conference, discuss with the industry about the new trends, the new kids on the block from a technology point of view or from a methodology point of view. We have to, we are definitely actively participating within Government of Canada with our partners, you know, mainly Treasury Board, the IRCC, CRA, all those close partner, there, Share Service Canada, group like that. So we actively participate into that, and when we participate into those, there's two things, right? We try to influence where they are going, but we also capture the trends and the bright idea that are being worked on. We leverage professional services as well, you know, Gartner, McKinsey, and so on. We, when there is new technology around, we try to be smart about it, become smart about it, you know, train ourselves, understand what's at play here, and we write different papers about that. So this is a little bit our our out-facing look there around us. When we once we have that, after that, it's a little bit easier for us to digest that and say, okay, so and talk to the business also and see, okay, say that we are able to develop strategic direction from an architecture perspective, obviously. And we develop white paper, vision, reference architecture, frameworks, standards. We also manage a standard practice there within CBSA. We share them and we govern them as well on all those things there. So this is quite important. So we take the pulse around us, and from there we absorb that and we say, listen, maybe we should go in that direction, and we develop and govern that strategic directions. After that, what we do, we have to apply that. Now that we have provided the guidance, the strategic directions, we have to make sure that the current initiative, the current releases are aligned to that. And in order to do that, we are fully integrated within the project management frameworks. So from gate 1 to gate 7, as at the bottom of the screen there. And we assess, the evolution of all those initiatives. We provide our feedback, and we flag and we force a discussion on those initiatives that are not playing along those strategic directions, those governed strategic directions there. So we do that for most initiative, for all initiative over 1 million within CBSAs there, and those above 5 million, we're going to we're bringing them also to the attention of Treasury Board also. So this is quite important, that integrations, because it allows us to talk to everybody. Since we are integrated, for example, within the PMF, as soon as there's a new initiative from a business perspective, around gate 1 that comes along, we engage right away with the business. We coach them, we help them, we assist them, and they are very pleased with that, because now they see us as one additional tool in their toolbox to de-risk their bright idea that they may have. What we do also, we promote the architecture governance within CBSA. So we act as the CBSA ARB secretariat there. So we are able to set up the agenda, produce the RODs and all that, and review everything that is presented there. We engage on a regular basis, with some key functional authority, like the chief information officer, the chief security officer, the chief data officer, the cyber authority official as well, the service authority official, and so on there. So it's quite interesting. These people are quite pleased also by our engagement. Why? Because we bring value on the table all the time that everything that we are engaged in. We do a lot of coordination also with the center, like I said a little bit earlier, with TBS and GCERB from an architecture perspective. And we, as a program, also we report on our KPI. So there's some key performance indicator that we have to report centrally to our ARB. So how we're performing year after year. Second last is we're also steward of a few key tasks there. The first one is the business process management task there. So we have the COE. We are the central level of expertise there for that within CBSA. We are involved, the customer, the different group within CBSA don't hesitate to engage us as need be there to bring that up. And we do also the same thing with application portfolio management. So we have an inventory of, like I said a little bit earlier, 181 national system, over 200 local regional application also that we inventory almost on a yearly basis. And this is reported also centrally to TBS, that Treasury Board Secretariat, on a yearly basis. Last but not least, I guess this is the culmination point there. It's we have developed over time a reference architecture repository, which is a blueprint there of how CBSA is constructed. Obviously, touch all the architecture domain. It's accessible. We have a corporate license, so it's accessible to anybody within CBSA. And a lot of people, a lot of organizations have started to maintain their information directly into the agency collaboration platform there, which is quite interesting for us, because it means that the information there is readily available, but the importance it's fully integrated within the rest of the other information there. So this is there's quite a lot of data set that are at play here, and this is what I will focus on in the next few slides. So this is a little bit the blueprint of what we have, the conceptual view of CBSA. So we have everything in yellow there is the business side. The blue is the application, and the technology is stack is on the green side there. So we have the legislation and regulation, so over 100 or so legislative act and things like that that set the raison d'être of CBSA there. We have the departmental result framework that's lists that actually details the 18 programs that CBSA is responsible of. We have a business capability view and business service view, and we have a business process view as well there. And the business process, this is where everything occurs, right? It's normally when there is a transformation, there is a modernization, it always impacts the business process. You know, one of the stack of the business process, and in return, the business process plays with different information, and also it calls for application services also to deliver those services there. So this is really at the heart of everything. And you have the application service, you have the application component, like I said, 181 national application, for example, and you have the technology service and the infrastructure service. Here we're talking about, for example, cloud, on-prem, different technology service related to that as well. So this is a little bit that, and what we are doing with our reference architecture, the blueprint there, is we're trying to understand the impact of transformation. So if you change a legislation, what is the impact below? If you change an application, what is at play here? If you change a data objects, let's say, for example, you introduce gender X there, which like what was happening 5-6 years ago there. Okay, which application is at play here? What work needs to be done? If you don't have that knowledge about your ecosystem, guess what? You're doing it a little bit on the fly there, asking people around and all that. And this is not feasible there. Instead of taking maybe 2 weeks to get an answer, you can get it within a matter of a few seconds there, if you are organized correctly. And on the left-hand side, also, you have all the information and data stack and the security stack also that applies across. So I'll move on to the review there. So obviously, like I said, what you have here is the view of the ECP, the Agency Collaboration Platform. So this is QualiWare based. So the tool that we use is QualiWare. But I guess what is at prime here is more the content, right, of it there. And what you have, you see on this slide, it's you have the organization, the programs, and all that. And I'll go through the key items of this one, and I'll show you a little bit what we've done from an integration point of view, and you can definitely extrapolate what could be the usage of that. But on our side, one key thing that we use it for is definitely to understand the impact of transformation, the impact of change within CBSA, and ensure that this is similarly understood by the business, by the program manager, by the project manager, by the delivery agents there that are actually involved with one particular initiative, right? Another thing also that is being used is our audit folks, internal audit folks are using it to prepare the audit, because now they have a good understanding of how everything is anchored together, is attached together. We're using to train people also, newcomer within CBSA there. It's available to them and they can relate to it. Plenty of usage there on this one. So we'll start with the program inventory. So the program inventory, it's in a nutshell, it's what CBSA role is all about there, right? So we are doing border management, border enforcement, and we have, like any other organization, we have an internal service, 10 internal services like legal, information management, finance, HR, things like that, right? So this is not sexy. This is all the same for most organizations, but what differentiates CBSA is that border management and border enforcement role. But in total, there's 18 programs there. Each of the 18 programs we've developed, and this is linked, right? This is the information link. If you hover with your mouse over one of them, whoop, the pop-up will come out, and with the descriptions and all that and additional links. Right now, obviously, this is a slide here, so I cannot demonstrate that to you. But what we're doing, what we are listing here is the target groups, the needs of the target groups, the business services that are actually enabling this program. And the program here is commercial facilitation and compliance. So in a nutshell, it's all the goods that cross the borders that comes into Canada. So there's 12 services here that are at play here to deliver this program. There's 3 legislations that are at play. You have the performance indicator of the program and the outcome of the program as well here. So also you have the program service alignment model here, and I'll show it to you what it is on this slide. So in a nutshell, this is another example. This one is detention. But this is, for example, for the detention program. So technically at the border, we can detain people there that are persona non grata that try to cross the border, but they have a warrant for or something like that. And there's 4 services that are at play here in the middle. And here are all the players around those services and what they do there. So this allows a better understanding of what the program is all about there, for example. If you drill down, now we went from a program, let's drill down now from to the service layer. So CBSA has 141 services. And all the one in yellow are the internal services, you know, that non-sexy stuff that I mentioned a little bit earlier, HR, IT, and all that there. The green ones are the external services, or service offered to Canadians or at the border. And the blue ones are the societal service, the service that we have to do in the background there to deliver all that. For example, detention is a societal service. It's not necessarily an external service that you offer to the population at large, right? So we have 141 services. Once again, if you were in the tool and you could just hover your mouse over one of them, you'll get the service descriptions and plenty of metadata related to that as well. And this is all clickable, and you could drill and understand a bit more what those services are how those services are actually designed. Once again, if I click on one, I'll have that canvas, that service canvas here. So now here is traveler facilitation and compliance service. So this means that it's when travelers across the border there. So what is at play here? So here on the legislation side and regulation side, you see quite a lot here. I'm not sure how many, but probably around 30 or so legislation and regulation. And if you click on those, you go to the site of the legislation and regulation, and you can actually see where the role comes from a legislative perspective as well. You have the program authority, you have the service authority, and you have the service provider. You have all the business processors also that shows up here. So the business processor that enable this service, And you have the service standard also, if there's one here. In this case, there's some standard there. And you have also that service integration accountability model also here that lists down in a nutshell. Go to the next slide. Lists down what's at play here for service. What are the dependency of one service of other service against one service there, and so on there. So like in this particular case, it's detention again there. So you have immigration detention, and you have on this one, you have a medical care. Oh, by the way, the white one means that it's external services providing to us there, but you have the Canadian Red Cross, for example. You have the detention from the police, from the provincial and police agency. You have the Medicare and so on there. So this tells you that if you want to deliver that service, you have to consider all those other services there, because they create a dependency on your service. So we went from program, service, and now let's go down to business process layer there. So the business process, we have an inventory over 500 right now. It's based on APQC, so American Process Quality. I always forget that acronym there, but it's an international standard coming from the Americans. So we've not reinvented the wheel. We use this one, and we tailor the specificity of CBSA on this one. But in total, we have 500 business processes as part of this, and this is level 3, at level 3 level. So on all of these business processes, same scenario here. So we have a description again. We have the policy reference for this service. We have a related service. We have the roles. What are the roles that are involved in that particular business process? What are the business application here used within that process? So you can see here for this one is perform commercial import and export risk assessment. So we ensure that that everything coming to Canada is legitimate and is it's accounted for and so on there. So so you could see here there's 25 systems here that are at play as part of the the 181 national system that we have. We have 25 just for this particular service here. You have 8, 12, 8, 16, 22 BIO, business information objects. So now we have where we go from the business process. I can clearly identify what information is at play here. So this is all documented as well. And we have also the business process, so the business model that have been done on BPMN, and the RRM, which is the look at the next slide, the information requirement model also that are being documented for all of those. And next slide, I'll show you, for example, here's a BPMN process diagram. I'm not sure what it is there, but this is all documented. This is how hosted. So in a nutshell, what I showed you here is you understand that in order to produce those diagrams there, this is all linked together. So we have a metadata framework there that we have developed that links all that. So now I can easily pinpoint if you want to transform a service, a business process, an applications. Here's what you need to look at. So I'm definitely, if you want to digitalize an area, you want to bring innovation at play here, we can intuitively and quickly, guide the business, guide the project management, the project manager, guide the project director, guide the delivery agents on what they need to consider. And actually, the delivery agent will use some of that information that we have here. For example, the data sets that are at play here within an application and so on, to improve the solution into the risk and to align also at the same time. So as you could see, this is quite powerful. it's quite cumbersome also. At the same time, there's quite a lot of information here that needs to be maintained and kept up to date and or evolve, obviously, as need be. But the overall intention is to provide all of that richness of information at the tip of the finger of everybody, so people can do the analysis as much as possible themselves. If they need help, they can come to see us there, and we will support them. So the next step for the CBSA Architecture Program. So this kind of sums up the 6 key functions that we have here. So if I go back. So these were these ones here, right? So what we do here. So those 6 key functions here. So quite a lot is being done right now on that, and it's very I'll be honest with you, very amazing to be where we are right now. What you see here, by the way, you will not see that much in other organizations there. People are aspiring, other organizations are aspiring to that, but CBSA, I would say, definitely one of the leading shop from an enterprise architecture perspective within the government of Canada. So the next step for us is we want to move a bit further. We want to continue to assess all those bright ideas that are being proposed, but we want also to participate in the decision. Should we go with this one or this one, and so on there, right? And we want to advise on those investment decisions there. We want to bring definitely more and more stakeholders within the agency collaboration platform. We want to bring, right now we are there, bringing the solution architecture at play here as well. So it will be a huge improvement over the richness of the informations. We want to continue to perform BPMN and launch lean practice sections there. And right now we are trying to update a little bit all our methods there that are related to everything that I explained to you there. So the key takeaways here, last slide. So we support all business transformational activities, right? Not just IT, business. And I'll be honest with you, there's about 60 or 70% of my job is more on the business side of the house, because transformation occurs there, ideation occurs with the business and all that. And we are definitely doing quite a lot of work over there. We had a few game changer moments when we the creation of the ITIL-like IT delivery process back in 2015 there, and the integration within the PMF. Those two were really the game changer for the program. Like I said, it's our program is business architecture led there. If you want to bring value, yeah, you know, the IT is there to support IT, or everybody is there to support the core business of the agency, right? Which is running the border, doing border management. So it's definitely a huge task there that we more and more participate actively into it there. I think that's all I had there. So in the annex, I guess you'll get access to the slide, but you have a list of everything that we manage, and that's about it there. Take any questions, Robert? Over to you.
Okay, great. Okay, well, anyways, thank you ever so much for the presentation there, Bruno. I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yep.
And what I'll do is can you see the questions, the Q&A? Maybe not. Okay.
No.
Okay, what happens is which tools and methods are used to conduct impact analysis?
What tools and mechanisms to assess the impact analysis? But we have as part of our, like I said, we are embedded from gate to gate, and we're also embedded in project management framework, and we're also embedded in the IT release management delivery there, release delivery. So we see everything. So what we do, we have developed some template questions from gate to gate to make sure that the key aspects are being addressed from gate to gate. Obviously, the question, for example, at gate 1, when it's really, or gate 2, when it's only a business ideation, that is different than at gate 4 or 5 when you have, if it's an IT solution, if it arises with a real IT projects and a solution being delivered there. But we at the end, like I said, we use DCP, we use the content of DCP to understand the context of where this particular change will occur, and from there we have some regular questions, but depending of where what is being touched here, there'll be additional one as well. And you have to understand also that we are dealing for major project, major initiative over 5 million. We are also teaming up with TBS folks there to get their twist also. And now on TBS, they'll focus on cloud a lot. They'll focus on security and so on there, on privacy, on so on there. So I think this is a little bit how we are doing it. So we have the bottom line, we have a rigorous questionnaire to answer, but at the same time, there's room for a bit of agility there and adaptation depending on the question being asked.
Great. Okay, we've got a simple one for you this time. What modeling language do you use? You use, I think you're using Archimate, UML, BizBock. What modeling language are you using?
We use definitely Archimate there to build our model and those models are finding themselves into different various documents. We use BPMN, business process modeling notation as well from a BPM perspective. We don't use UML much. I think those are the two key ones there, because Archimate is quite complete there, from a model point of view, and this is actually this is an excellent question, because it took us a few years to standardize, right? Everybody had their own little Visio or PowerPoint, or we had even our own internal, I'm talking about within CBSA, our own internal standard there, and we had to bring everybody into one standard. It took a little bit of time, but geez, it pays off, because now we talk the same language. People see diagrams, sees a description using the Archimate modeling language there, and this pays off that big time. Okay,
we got under this. Is there sort of a working group where you share experiences amongst like-minded? I think there's the EA community of practice. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, we have some within and the CBSA. We participate some with TBS under the TBS umbrella. We had some in the past which was more geographically born there, like Hydro Ontario was there, the city of Ottawa was there, and all that. But this one kind of died over time. In the last, it died just before the pandemic, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. It's sad, because we were sharing a lot of good stuff among ourselves there around the practitioners. But there's one also around Ouellet that is not necessarily just government centric there. So those are the key ones that we participate into.
Okay, well, that's great. I've got a question here, and I'll just sort of summarize it. There were data breaches over at CBSA, like in 2019, and also the CBSA trade portal was also had issues. How are you addressing that? With using architecture to make sure that sort of stuff doesn't happen, especially the data breaches, and making sure that the software complies with standards?
Mm-hmm. This is a good question. So this is all the entire security aspects there. I would say, fortunately, within CBSA, we made a decision about 7-8 years ago to embark into a security, enterprise security architecture practice there. And this allowed us to definitely team up with Shared Service Canada, with CSEC also, and we advanced quite a lot of files on that, to a point that now we are being asked to participate in a lot of GC-wide sessions on security. But all that to say that we have we've done some quite a lot of security related strategic directions document, reference architecture and things like that. Like, for example, ICAM, identity credential access management and all that. So this allows us now to be a bit more mature with regard to maturity, and to bring in new industry trends as they come out there. So this is how we do it. So we work in tandem also with the cybersecurity folks that assess the security posture of all those initiatives also. You know, there's a group doing that just from a cybersecurity perspective, but we work hand in hand also on that. So this is a little bit how we make sure that everything is sound from a security point of view and there's no flaws. So we're not, I will say, on this one, it depends of the orientations of the level of the security breach or something like that. But we definitely track also all the breaches to make sure, okay, should have we done something differently from an architecture perspective, enterprise architecture perspective, or solution architecture perspective to avoid that as well, right? So it's interesting. Question is interesting because in the last few years, because of I wouldn't say because of us there, but we put a lot of pressure on the agency at large to get organized from a security point of view, and specifically everything related to identity, credential, and access management, because this is at the center of access and getting unwanted people accessing our data sets and creating trouble, right? So I think we are definitely on the right track. Are we doing enough? Well, probably, I don't think there's any organization that is doing enough with regard to cybersecurity, but you know, there's always a balance between investment and the value at the end of that investment. But definitely, I don't think CBSA has made the front page of the Globe and Mail lately. There, so we should be okay. So far, we're cross finger.
The media index for cybersecurity, but it's true. I've got a question for you, and that is, when you're doing your gap analysis, you find the gaps and you basically create capital projects.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that has to be enhanced or sunset. Now, often that's done under O&M. Do you have visibility or architectural control on the O&M projects, the operations and maintenance projects, as well as the capital spend? I know in government, that's a big concern.
We, anything over $1 million, we have visibility on.
So it doesn't matter.
It comes internally. It comes from the business. It comes from our partner. Like, for example, we're involved right now with there's a huge project. This one is quite huge. It's close to $1 billion with IRCC right now that we are actively involved in making sure that the design is right, because we are the delivery agent of the capability at the border. I'm talking about immigration and from an immigration perspective there. So yes, I think we are, I will say, Robert, we are integrated enough right now to a point that we see and able to assess probably 99% of all the initiatives. There's always those, there's some initiatives that we don't care, right? If it's just a one-off and they're just, like, for example, they install a laptop and we don't see that, it's too small, right? But change of versions, we don't care much about that either. But anything that has an architecture impact per se, there, normally we are involved. And it's fun because, like I said a bit earlier, the mentality has changed over the last 4 or 5 years. more and more people are engaging us because they see the value, they see they want to de-risk at the end, right? They want to make sure that they have a smooth ride on their implementations and all that. And this is a huge game changer. That when you are being invited around the table versus being imposed yourself around the table, this is where you can say that you've reached a bit of success there, because it's not, human nature is human nature, right? They will ask to talk to you if they see that you bring a value to them. If they don't, you're not going to be engaged at all. And this is the problem, right? But now we've reached a stage that we are invited, we are aware, people are contacting us. The only issue with that is now we have to manage that the success that we have there, because man, the workload is quite heavy right now on that. But this is fun at the same time, right?
Oh, if you can't have fun. Well, thank you ever so much for coming. I mean, I found it was very inspirational. We're CBSA, and I saw one of the senior director generals basically illustrate his vision using enterprise architecture artifacts. And I said, yes, they own them. You know what I mean? And it was.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect, Robert. There, we still have a lot of education to do. There's a new guard there at CBSA at VP level and DG level there, and we're trying now more and more to bring them on board right away. As soon as they arrive in the first few weeks, we're going to come and brief them, because this helps them to understand, the ecosystem and what they have to manage at the end, right?
Well, ultimately, people are the big driver. Well, yeah. Bruno, a big thank you for taking the time to present. It was greatly appreciated. And yeah, we have no open questions. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much, Bruno. And we are going to close the session. Tomorrow, just some notes, we're going to be hybrid. We're going to be in the Desmarais building, the Telfer School of Management for the local folks, which is right across the street from the Rideau Center. Okay, and it's right one of the main, it's very easy to access, tons of parking. We're going to be starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, for those members of the ISACA persuasion, we'll be having our annual general meeting there before. So I look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be bimodal, so we will be recording as well as presenting in person. We have a great lineup of speakers. We've got Philip Johnson, who's the CIO for the National Research Council, starting off with emerging technology and trends. And then we've got Yvan Gauthier, who's from the Canada Research Council. He's going to be talking about the AI acceleration program, accelerator program, and how to implement AI within your organization. Then we're going to have Benoit Dehaye, who's a director over at Treasury Board, and he's responsible for data and artificial intelligence. And he's going to be giving an overview of the policies that are coming into place, for that. That's going to be followed after lunch by Dr. John Halligan. He's from the University of Canberra. He's going to be talking about exploring the relationship between digital era governance and public administration. So it's going to be an overview of how do you transform your governance to accommodate digital transformation. And then we're going to have Dr. Guy Vincent Jourdan, Dr. Vio Onit, and Brad Stocking. And they're going to be talking about the University of Ottawa cyber range, in particular, contested cyberspace, employing cyber ranges for collective security and resiliency. And the final presentation will be given by Brigadier General Retired David Anderson from National Defense, and he's going to be talking about the Canadian Armed Forces Digital Campaign Plan. So I do hope that you will take the time to attend. It was greatly appreciated. So to all of you, I'm going to stop the recording, and we're going to, and I'm going to end the